Yes.
Perfect.
Set
It's
up
gonna work out.
to set up, essentially. Just like running.
It's distracting me.
I literally like.
I didn't even notice.
This might be real.
Friday.
I'm still on.
12:30 a.m.
With 3 other people, we're the only ones keeping the lights on this app.
So like it was, yeah.
Hello and thank you all so much for joining us for an evening with Amy Spalding to discuss In Her Spotlight, the newest book in the Out in Hollywood series.
I'll be the dead book.
It follows Hollywood actor Tess Gardner, who aims to prove her chops in a theatrical production directed by her ex. It is a hilarious, relatable sapphic rom-com. Spalding will be in conversation with Adib Khorram, award-winning queer Iranian author of I'll Have What He's Having. They will both be personalizing and signing copies after the event, so feel free to get your copies at the desk, and purchases can be shipped anywhere in the country. Tonight's event is only made possible because of your support. When you support Left Bank Books, your money goes back directly into the local economy to keep your bookstores open, your libraries funded, and your parks free. So thank you for shopping local and supporting this event. We're happy to be producing a lot of great in-person events this year. On March 4th, we'll be hosting Lissa Fairbanks for her sapphic rom-com Love Dramedy. Our full calendar of events is on our website, so check that out so you can help us support even more great authors. Amy Spalding is an Human Rights Campaign Visibility Award-winning author of authentic, funny, and diverse novels representing the LGBTQ community. Based in St. Louis, she has a BA in Advertising and Marketing Communications from Webster University and an MA in Media Studies from the New School. She now lives in Los Angeles. Adib Khorram is the queer Iranian American author of books like Darius the Great Is Not Okay, which won the William C. Morris Award, the Asian Pacific American Literature Award, a Boston Globe Horn Book Honor, and was named one of the Times Magazine's 100 Greatest YA Novels of All Time. He is a Kansas City native and a McDowell Fellow, and serves on the National Board of Directors for Authors Against Book Bans. So please give a warm welcome to our authors.
Thank you all so much. It's great to be here. I was immediately distracted because right in my eyeline is a book that just says all about penises. Right next to one that says all about vulvas. And it was interesting they chose not to use the Latin plural of vulvae. And I just want to know I want to see those books. I'm going to check that after the event though.
Put them in our sightline just to like mess with us.
I know, right? So it's like they knew exactly what our pronouns were. Hey Amy.
Hey Adib, you sound so fancy in your bio.
Thank you. Listen, sometimes you're like, have to go last year I had to interview Taylor Jenkins Reid for a thing. And she has done all the things. And I was like, well, I need to make myself sound like I didn't just wander off the street. But then you forget to change it when you're with your friends.
Yeah.
And now I sound like an asshole.
Also, I feel like I've done events where I send in a fun one and then everyone else sends in one like that. And so I'm just I'll never mess up again. Mine would just be let's add some Diet Coke. And it's this is the award-winning, best-selling.
I was can it just say Adib Khorram is also here? Let's go.
That could be your memoir title.
I was also here, yes. Love it. So, In Her Spotlight. This is the 4th out in Hollywood. Just in case anyone in the audience is new to the series, can you tell us a little bit about what it's about, and then a little bit more about what In Her Spotlight is about?
Yes, Out in Hollywood is a series of interconnected books. And I say this because it is not a series where if you don't read them in order, something horrible will happen, which is what happens if you read other series out of order. They horrible incidents befall you. No. Characters from different books pop up. They obviously happen in a certain order, but if you read just the ones you want in whatever order, it's fine. So they're all about queer women working in and around Hollywood. Because I work in the industry myself and have lived in LA for 2 decades, I felt like I was reading a lot of books where I'm I don't think you've ever been here or talked to someone who works in this. And sometimes it was still really fun, but I sort of really wanted to write about I think the reality of it is actually really entertaining. and like the good and the bad. So that was like kind of one of my inspirations in the first place. And so I started with someone who sort of like ghostwrites, social media and email for celebrities, and then someone at a talent agency, someone who works in film marketing. And so I felt like before I left the series, I had to do like an A-list star. It felt like what are you doing? It was like Chekhov's A-list star. So Inner Spotlight is about Tess Gardner, who is like a Marvel-esque type actress. She's gotten very famous for playing a character named Princess Platinum in the Vindicator series, which is the laziest thing I've ever named something in my life. I want to be clear. Because I didn't know, I wasn't sure Tess was going to be like, she's mentioned in book 1, and I said she was in the Vindicator series. And the great thing about making an offhand reference and a joke is you never think it'll come back to haunt you. And then when you make her the main character, you were stuck with the Vindicators, which I literally obviously went to thesaurus.com, typed in Avengers, and got Vindicators. I was like, great, good enough, and would go on.
Don't wait.
Keep talking, I'll get them.
Okay, so Tess has gotten very famous playing Princess Platinum, but she went to Juilliard. She's an actor. She wants to be taken seriously. And so she's going to get back to her first love of the theater. Tess is also deeply closeted, and due to a scandal, the original director of the play has to step down at the last minute, and her other first love, Rebecca Frisch, is brought in as the backup director, and now they have to work together. And also, I think unlike a lot of, you read romance, you know that the trope is second chance romance of like a couple that was together in the past, and now they're going to, it's a romance. I was like, maybe they'll get together again. What do you guys think? But I feel like it's usually, if it's a second chance romance, most of those stories are told by the character whose heart was broken. And in this case, it's the opposite. Like Tess was the heartbreaker. So anyway, will these two ladies work it out? Probably.
Well, I know if they don't work it out, everyone on the internet will let you know what the definition of a romance
already,
is.
yeah.
Yep. I love that it's set in the world of theater. Fun fact, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Theatrical Lighting Design from Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. Are there any other Cougars in the audience? Go Cougars. Thank you.
A really polite
I know, right?
They're really yes.
Yep. We are also there. What made you choose to, you picked an A-list star and yet you took her out of Marvel with the serial number followed off and put her in the theater. What made you choose the world of theater?
I thought about like when actors want to be taken seriously, like what do they do? And they do a play. Like I just feel like that's what they do. It's like
it's like in First Wives Club.
Yeah, I mean I have a meme of that from that saved. Like literally is one of my like, this makes me think of my book. It's like, yes. So I love theater, and I haven't really been super involved in theater myself. I did a little assistant stage managing back in the day, but I love it as just like as someone who goes to theater. I think it, especially in the in this age of screens and everyone feeling like really disconnected from each other, there's something about like going into that like dark room and something happens on the stage that like is just literally going to exist right then and there and then like go away. That I think is so magical that you like hold that together, and like getting to write about that felt really special. And so I think it was also like, well, I think it's fun. I think it'll be fun to like put an actor in that. And I also felt like I sort of like the fish out of water aspect of someone who hadn't done theater in like a really long time and had forgotten like how it works to like have to like go do it again. And that was very appealing to me.
It was appealing to me too. It was delightful, especially how much of a jerk Michael was every single time. You'll laugh later. You'll know what I'm talking about later. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I love all my editor's notes were like, I mean, he is being a jerk, but he's very correct.
Right.
Heartbreaking, the worst person you know made a good point. Boy, that means I'm getting a lot of traction lately. So much of this story revolves around Tessa's first love, and not just her first love with a human, but her first queer love. It's like really hard to figure out love, and it's even harder when you're also having to figure it out while you're figuring yourself out at the same time. Can you talk a little bit about choosing to explore that?
Yeah, so I feel like every part of this book, I somehow painted myself into a corner to write. So Tess had been mentioned in a couple other books in the series. She's like mentioned in For Consideration, which is where the horrible name Vindicators came from, and the fact that she had a dog who's an influencer. Why did I say that? How
dare you speak ill of Rosie?
No, she's like the fifth girl. She's like a very important character in this book. And then in At Her Service, Tess is a minor character who has a little arc where this is like when her journey starts, that she wants to be taken more seriously. And so she has a little interaction with Max, who's the main character. And in both books, the main characters say like, oh, Tess is always like publicly dated men, but kind of seems like she's not straight all the way. And so in my head, I was like, well, if I ever write that book, that would obviously be like someone coming out. And so I just sort of like tucked that away. And then as the fuller idea was coming of like, oh, the first love, the secret, all of this, I thought it was going to be like a fun romp. Like, oh, she's keeping a secret. They're having to sneak around. And then when I actually sat down to write, like, what would make a person like be this much in the closet, like, it's not fun. It's really sad and isolating. And then when you add on the level, like, there's so much about like that kind of fame that's isolating because you can't just go out in the world. You can't assume people are not just trying to use you. And you always have to be so polite in public, especially as a woman, because like you're expected to like be a certain kind of like pretty blonde superhero. It really changed the course of me writing because I realized I needed to like, there's just like a level of like earnestness and not like silliness at a certain level that I felt like I couldn't give this book that would be different in, you know, with a different plot line. So I didn't really set out to explore it. What I did was accidentally create a closeted character and then have to like be like, what would that actually be like? And I really wanted to take it seriously. I didn't want to make it just sort of like, again, I didn't want it to make it like it's fun to sneak off in the background. And I also didn't want to just be like, well, she wanted to be famous, so she did this. I wanted it to be something that was like deeper than that and something that had like been in her core since she was a kid. Just sadder. There's jokes in this book, don't worry.
It's you found the humor in plenty of other places, don't worry. I cackled frequently.
Thank God.
Why is it that second chances hit so much harder when they're queer?
I do think there's a level of like, you have not fully accepted yourself at a younger age and you haven't accepted who you are or like what you are. And someone came into your life almost like when you weren't ready for it. And then you grow up, things change. The interesting thing about this book is like in a lot of ways, Tess like regressed actually. So like she gets another chance and she's like, now I can't even talk about stuff. So it was interesting to like have that, whereas I felt like, you know, with Rebecca, it was like the opposite. Like she like really came into her own since like Tess had seen her last and was like presented as like such a different, more confident person, which is also, I think, one of the really fun things about like, not just like second chance romance, but any story where characters haven't seen each other in a while and they learn and grow and then they're seeing like that new version. It's really jarring.
This is only the tiniest of spoilers. One of my favorite bits is when Rebecca reveals that like her fashionista pedigree is like all smoke and mirrors and it's all like borrowed or stolen clothes. I was like, oh, I know that person. Like I know that person 100%.
Yeah, it wasn't quite to that level originally. And one of my friends like gave me notes early on and she was like I wanted to be like, her earrings are from Target, they're not real. And then she's like, some people look glamorous, but they have like fake hair and fake teeth. What about that? I'm like, she's like, is that too far? And I was like, yes, that's too far, you psycho. But it was like the idea of like someone really presenting with this like perfect image and like, because they both present with perfect images, like in different ways. And it was like a book about like, what is behind that and why do you have to build that wall and like, where is it good and where is it harming you?
I love it. I love it so much. There's an amazing like cast of supporting characters. Not only the supporting characters in the play, but also Tessa's friends, like her brother Andy, who also went to Southern Illinois University.
It's true. I didn't know you went there. So as you said that, I was like, oh, there's an alumni in the book too.
Right, and her friend Aisha, who asks very intense questions at restaurants. So I think maybe my real question is, are all the characters in the book just based on me?
Oh my God, I didn't even think about the restaurant thing. That's so you.
I was like, this is this a play about us?
Multiple people have read it and think like Aisha's based on Jasmine, which I think is weird because I don't actually think they're that much alike.
Oh, when Jasmine and I went out to eat, I was the picky one.
Yeah, exactly.
Jasmine's like, I'm happy to be in Kansas City and putting barbecue into my body. And I was like, well, like, how spicy is the sauce? Like, is it more vinegary or more tomatoey? Like, well, listen, okay, so I don't know if anyone knows Kansas City. We had to go to Jack Stack because they were the only place that would fit the party size we had. And I hate Jack Stack. I would never willingly go to Jack Stack. I only went because my friends were going. So I was like, I have no context for what a Jack Stack sauce is gonna be. We don't need to talk about, anyway, sorry. Listen,
I
you
need
talk
to
to
get
someone
on
from Kansas
tangents.
City about barbecue,
Yeah, it
things
feels,
are gonna
yeah,
happen. When you come to town, we'll go to Q39 or Kicks, one of the,
I
not
can't
Kicks,
wait.
Slaps, one of the good places. Kicks is a fantasy name for Slaps that I put in my book
in your book,
because
yeah.
you always just file the serial number off of a place.
I don't normally do that unless I'm doing something weird to it. But you can't say like she's like an Avengers, like there's already Avengers. I had to. I didn't want Marvel to sue me. What if I'm just like she's an Avenger you've never heard of?
Just feel like she played Black Widow. Just feel like it's alternate history. Scarlet who? Don't know her. Like, sorry. I'm sure Disney's not that litigious.
Have you heard about Disney?
I have. Which is funny, but then they'll like, ignore lawsuits when they get sued. They're like, what? We didn't get that lawsuit. And they were like just not paying royalties to people because the Star Wars books had like been sold so many times. And then suddenly Disney owns Star Wars. I'm like, well, we're not gonna pay royalties on this. We didn't sign that contract. Whatever.
They would totally come after me for.
That's hilarious. I mean, they're gonna come after us for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm suing
most
us
likely.
right now. Check your email.
Like, I think they have the same, I'm not gonna go there. Well, they probably have the same lawyers as David Miscavige.
This is going off the rails already.
Listen, you hung out with me before. You knew
It's
what
true.
you
I
were,
knew what I was getting
you
into.
knew what Pandora's box you were opening. I feel like we have talked a lot about Tess, but I would love it if you would tell us like 3 interesting things that you haven't told us so far about her.
Yeah. She's really into her car because
Yes.
I wanted to write a character who's like a car guy because I really like my car. I don't have that fancy of a car, but I love it. And I always like telling people,
Wait, what? Tell us about your car.
I have a Volkswagen GTI. It's a really good sports engine.
Love
It's
it.
bright red. It has personalized plates.
How between the two of us, how am I the one that drives a Subaru Crosstrek?
That is super weird. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's so practical.
I know, right?
Trying to be as-
I was like, I'm a lesbian here. How dare you? Like, what's going on?
That's super weird. Yeah. And so I was like, I want to give Tess like just like a ridiculous sports car. So Tess drives a Python Green Porsche 911 Carrera. It is, I mean, it's just really gross. Like, it's like such a douchebag car. And I love, cause like, it's sort of like, there are a lot of symbols for Tess surrounding Tess. Like, she has this pug influencer dog who's like a goblin, but like, she's also like, Tess is a goblin inside. And like, she's a douchebag. Like, there's something really, like, I love a beautiful freak, And so I was like, I want to write her where she's just sort of like, she's blonde, she's beautiful, she's doing this like very specific thing. And also she's like at her core, like just kind of weird. Yeah. So that was important to me. She loves to cook.
I love those scenes.
I'm just really
Anytime
glad.
she's cooking. I love food.
It's
I love
true.
when people write about food.
Yeah. And I feel like food is such a love language. So like I like writing someone who like cares for other people with food. The other idea is that she's been shooting movies all over the world. She's been doing global press tours. And like doing this play in Los Angeles is like one of the first times she's had to like pause and get to like live her life sort of the way she would if she was a normal person. And so like taking all that time to like cook and spend time with her brother and her best friend, like it like really means a certain thing to her.
I love it. I was once accused by my agent of whenever I don't know what's supposed to happen in the story, the characters will go cook something. I'm like, how dare you? That's not true at all. And it's definitely not true of me in life either. Stuff. Like, what do you do? Like, no, just no. Okay, now I have the same question. Tell us 3 interesting things about Rebecca that you haven't shared yet.
The thing about Rebecca was that I decided if Tess was closeted, I wanted her to just like be the most lesbian. So she's like staying with her ex-wife. She went to Wellesley. Like she's just like real like she doesn't have a car, but if she did, she would definitely drive a Subaru. She doesn't know how to drive. She doesn't know how to cook, except one item.
Most perfect grilled cheese.
Mm-hmm. There's so much with Rebecca that I feel like is like a mild spoiler. So
That's valid. You don't have to give the spoilers.
but she was like her and Tess were both like trying to be actresses in their early 20s, and she ended up becoming a director
a
and
female
a
director.
female director. And
You'll laugh later.
we're just setting you up to really appreciate the jokes in the book. And I really, I liked the idea of someone like sort of taking the career that didn't work for her and like using it to like do something that was like better for her and that she loved more. And both of them, I really wanted to write like women who are like very ambitious and like unashamed of that, even if they're sort of like going about their careers in different ways and doing different things. The other thing I will say about Rebecca is that it's like an aside. It's not even like a thing that happens. It's not even like a thing that Rebecca mentions. But early on, when Tess has like admitted to her best friend that she had this relationship in the past, her best friend Aisha, like obviously, if you found out your friend had like dated a famous director like back in the day, you would like go on an internet chase too, and like says like, did you see this video of her on Broadway World where she talks about like getting lost in Queens and running into a pack of raccoons at night? And that was because my friend was like, all the things to humanize Rebecca was like, maybe she takes a video of like getting chased by a wild animal. And I don't know why that was her note. My friend Adam had just gotten like taken a long way in Queens at night because he didn't want to wait for a bus and like ran into a raccoon. And so I just like put it in the book. But the great thing is this came up the other night when I did an event in Queens. And Adam did not know I put that in the book and found out while sitting in the front row. So now when you read that, you'll know the backstory of where this very minor anecdote came from.
That's amazing. I did not know that. Wait, do I know this Adam? Is it a writing Adam or a?
It's a not writing
Okay, I don't
Adam.
know this Adam.
He used to be a Broadway stage manager, so he was a research and checking my manuscript Adam, so
That's
that I
hilarious.
didn't make an ass out of myself.
I wonder if I know him from my theater days. Probably not. I do every so often see like a random person that's doing Broadway like backstage. I'm like, oh, I think I went to school with them or I did a show with them. It's wild. Theater is such an incestuous world.
I
It's so
kind of
weird.
forgotten you were a theater person, and then I was like, when I remembered, I was so delighted that we were doing this event together because it's just such a full-on theater book.
Right. Oh, it's so fun. Where were you in Queens? Which store were you at?
Astoria?
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh, Astoria. Okay. Oh, nice.
Astoria Bookshop. Yeah.
I love that store. Okay, sorry. I was just thinking great thoughts about theater. Back to In Her Spotlight. You knew what you were getting. I don't know why you're complaining now.
I know, it's true. I'm not
All right.
complaining.
Exactly. Okay, fair.
I'm just sitting here.
I know, right? Los Angeles itself is practically a character in the book, and is portrayed surprisingly with like love and devotion. I feel like most books, everyone's like Los Angeles is the worst. Los Angeles is the worst.
Heather Hogan found a user review that said, like, find you a girl who looks at you like Amy Spalding looks at Los Angeles.
I love it. Because it's true, usually we see that sort of love reserved for New York City.
Heather also pulled out all the negative things that, they're not even negative, but neutral things about New York in this book and read all those quotes aloud to the New York audience.
That's delightful.
It was amazing.
Um,
I hope I get asked back to the city.
you know what? There's so many people there. You can just find different people to be in the audience and no one will know. New Yorkers don't talk to each other, obviously. But what's your own relationship with Los Angeles like? What made you want to write about it so lovingly?
Well, I mean, I've lived in LA 21 years now. I love it. And I mean, there are super dumb things about it. There are dumb things about every city. Like, yes, it's too expensive. The traffic's stupid, all of that. But also, it is such a thriving community of creative people who move there often because they want to be around other creative people and produce creative things. And that felt so special to me and felt like I really could find a world where I fit in, a world where people made sense to me, where I made sense to them. And I feel like that is often not the LA I was seeing portrayed in other, like you're saying, it feels like often it's like with derision or just sort of like the
Or it's the Californians?
yeah, or like just the stereotype of it. And so I thought like, it was really important to me to be like, well, I love this place. I want to write it as I love it. And I felt like I also wanted to write characters who felt that way too.
Nice. I felt the love of it. It made me want to come back and visit. I've been several times, but I don't know that I ever got it until I like read In Her Spotlight. I was like, oh, that's fun. Because if you go to visit a place, like a lot of time, you're like staying in the hotel district or like you're there for a convention, and the Los Angeles Convention Center is okay.
No,
it's definitely it's a weird neighborhood, and there's these like wide courtyards. And why is there a courtyard here? There's nothing to do in this courtyard. You just have to walk a long ass way to get back to your hotel. Anyway, sorry.
That's not the world I portrayed.
I know, right? You can create like these little pockets of neighborhood and vibrant communities and little restaurants and tucked away lesbian bars. Like it was so delightful. So yeah, next time I'm gonna make you like take me to some like actual good places.
100%, I'm doing it.
You talked about how Tess wanted to be taken seriously, and that's why she does a play. But I also feel like, hopefully this isn't, I don't think this is too spoiler. Like a big theme of the book is her like coming out, but also her like owning her own story and eventually like standing up to her team of like, no, like I want to do what I want, not what you want that will make you money. I don't know, sometimes that feels really apt to like publishing as well. What made you want to write about that?
I sort of think that was an aspect of the story that I found as I was in it, because the more I wrote and the more I was thinking about like how much of her life was dictated by others, it sort of was like, well, then the arc is going to be that she learns how to step out of that. And then something else that I sort of discovered while I was writing it was the idea that she was also just like super disconnected from her body, because like she spends so much time just being like put in a costume, led somewhere, an effect is made. They're going to make a mold out of your body, so you have to be the size for like this many years while we shoot this. You have to look a certain way, you have to act, we need you to dress this way so you come across like this. And how she just like, it had been so many, and the only way to like, I think for her to like thrive in that environment was just to be like, okay, well then this is not me. I'm just like a brain in this like thing that's disconnected. And so like, I hadn't really put this together until it was like, well, I was working on it, and then it was like fun to like get to, you know how you like find a thing and then you get to like go back and do it on purpose. But the idea of like, you know, two ways that you really can like be within your own body is being like physically intimate with someone, but also being on the stage. It's like, and like to put her in a position where she's like disconnected from her body and having to like be an example of that in front of her ex-girlfriend is like very embarrassing for her, but then also like really triumphant when she's like reconnecting.
Those are some of my favorite bits, like when it started clicking for her. I never really performed, but I like did a lot of shows, and I like that moment when it starts to gel and like that magic emerges. Ugh, it gave me chills just going back there. One of the refrains, like you mentioned that Tess is a bit of a goblin, but one of the stories she tells about herself is what a villain she is in other people's lives. I found that like heartbreaking in a way. Like give yourself a break, girl. You are like a baby gay. What do you want from yourself? Why? Why did you do that? Why did you do that to poor sweet little Tess?
I know. I have, you know, I think sometimes when you have done something in your past that you're not proud of, or you acted a way that you're not great about, I think sometimes it's almost like easier to be like, well, I'm bad all the way through and that's why I did it. And it's like, in some ways it's really horrible on yourself, but in some ways it's like a pass, because you're like, well, I mean, I'm bad at my core. What was I going to do? Not be bad at my core? And so I think it's also given her license to not examine it further, to just be like, I'm a villain, and like take a step back from it. So I, you know, which is why, I mean, spoiler alert, her friend calls her out. Like, I get that that's a convenient excuse for you, but like, you're just a person who has to like deal with your shit. And so I just like, I think I also like the idea that someone who's like best known for playing a superhero is like at her heart feeling like a villain for this thing. And also like, just like growing up is realizing that like stuff that happened in your past is not like you, it's like you get away with it, but it's also like, give yourself some credit. You were so young, like you didn't know what was happening. And the other thing that was really important to me about writing Tess was that she was in the closet not just to like further her career in some way. It was that like the way she'd been brought up by her family had made her feel like she could have never come out then either. Because I didn't like the idea. I was like, well, I don't think she's just like, well, this is, you know, a strategic move. This is literally like, I'm ashamed of who I am. I think I'll lose my family if I come out.
It's so fraught, especially you know, growing up in the Midwest. It's a great place to be from, except for when it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just assholes. I live, you know, down the street from the state of Kansas, which is doing its own fuckery right now.
Yeah. But also, you know, the thing I love is like I'm back in St. Louis in a bookstore like this, in a community like this. It just like it feels extra special. I was just in Minneapolis yesterday, and like the way the community has come together there to like take care of its own is really incredible. So there's also that thing about the Midwest where I feel like, and one thing I tried to show by the end of the book is that a lot of people from there actually are really eager to support her. She's not. It's the people who were dead.
Exactly. Yeah. Love it.
I did write, sorry, I don't know if you're gonna ask about this, but I will say I got to write my first full-on villain in this book, and it was really fun.
Are you talking about Erica?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, who did I hate the most? It was delightful.
Heather's like, man, you always redeem people and you just didn't.
Right? You know what? Fuck them kids. Sometimes you just have to. I love it. So we see, as you mentioned, we see some familiar faces in her spotlight as like it's the fourth book in the series. Did you feel? Well, first of all, will there be more, or is this the final
I
one?
think it's the final one. I'm not saying like never, like I can't say like years
the
when I
last
do
for now.
something, but it's the last for now. Yeah, and I also, by the time I finished it, that last chapter that goes on and like has all these like little cameos and stuff, I feel like I get real series finale vibes out of that. So I was like, I feel like I left everyone in a great place.
I think so too. I guess my question is, did you feel pressure to do that, like either from outside or from yourself? That like this was sort of capping this journey you've been on for several years now, or did you find yourself like purely focused on Tess and Rebecca, and you're like, whatever, I'll throw a few crumbs to other people? Like, what was your relationship with the series?
You know, I wanted to only bring back characters if it felt like relevant to the story. I didn't want to just like, I've definitely read like series books where like they're like, wow, and then these two people wandered in. You're like, why would they be?
And then fought
Yeah, it's like, or
like
like,
an anime.
or they're like, I don't know. That's your journey. Or like for some reason, people you've never met in this book, even though like the reader knows who it is, are like announcing their like baby in front of someone else, and you're like, okay, that's nice. But like, I didn't want to do anything like that. I wanted it to be really organic within the story. And you know, Max was already part of her team, so like Max gets a little arc in this book, and that was really fun because like Max had grown up a lot since at her service, and I really loved bringing her back and like letting them really fully develop a friendship. And then it made sense. Like I hadn't planned on bringing back Ari, but I wanted some mention, and like bringing her back felt really right too because she was such a good sort of like role model for Tess in some ways. And then I felt really good about that. And then my editor was like, you gotta put something from On Her Terms. You did the other two books. So like I'll just say toward the end, they're like, it's like, and then my dog groomer and her girlfriend were there. Like that was 100% my editor made me do that. So just a little pressure. But I also feel like I set it up for myself because I did like major things from the other two books and then nothing. So yeah.
You played yourself.
This whole book is like me playing myself. I just like kept setting up like weird traps and then falling into them.
What is it? Sideshow Bob stepping on legs?
Because like even literally the overall plot, again, I've never worked in professional theater. I've never been an actor. I had to do so much freaking research on this book. And then when I was like, fuck, I just talked to someone who made a Marvel movie. Like, what had I done to myself? But guess what? Everyone was really willing to talk to me. And I honestly think, like the research really made it. But it was, I write contemporary books for a reason. I don't want to usually have to learn that much.
All right, you should be able to make it up.
Yeah.
It's very rude. Okay, I have lightning round questions for you now.
Okay.
And it's going to be a series of this or that. First of all, theater with an R-E or theater with an E-R?
I think RE is for the stage and ER is for the film.
Interesting.
If the style guide for this book that I laid out is that if she's talking about movies, it's ER, and if it's so keep an eye out as you read if you care about grammar.
Fascinating.
I have both in the book.
Okay. I was always taught that RE is the art form and ER is the building.
Oh.
Isn't that fascinating? Okay. Toasted ravioli or flat Provel cracker pizza?
Oh my gosh, that's a ravioli. Times a million.
First tech or first dress? This may be harder for you if you've never done that much theater.
Sorry, I don't know why I blew on that. I mean, first dress. I just feel like tech is stressful and people cry. And I
Okay.
always think of like the meme from Smash.
I
It's like,
understand
yeah,
that.
I'm a tech.
Valid.
It was really
I
hard
just
for
feel
me not putting that in that because there is like a really sad scene and I wanted her to be like, no, we're in tech.
Listen, tech is where someone always breaks up. Like I've never done a show where someone didn't break up during tech, but also that's when all the best candy comes out. And if you work with anyone from Europe, they have the most creative ways of sneaking alcohol into the theater. My favorite was this guy. I thought he just always had a sandwich at his table. No, it was a flask. No, it was between two pieces of bread. Like it was very well disguised.
Oh my God.
God bless Tech Week. That's a way to see like someone's true self.
Yeah.
whether they truly are a monster or not. You find out first tech.
Well, the fun thing, I mean, I don't want to be too spoilery, but like a sad thing does happen in tech, and I feel like Tess is like, oh, and I'm like, girl, sad. I mean, I literally let another character be like, let's just wait till after tech's over, right?
Yep.
Because I think your problem's gonna work out.
Right. Love it. Okay. In or out?
I don't know, either or.
Okay. Well, I was trying to think of something you could compare In-N-Out
In-N-Out
Burger to, but there's nothing.
No, I
What
need.
am I going to think? Carl's Jr. We call that Hardee's in the middle of the country.
I know it's true.
Del Taco. No one wants a Del Taco. Oh no! Someone wanted a Del Taco. Who wanted? I'm sorry if you wanted a Del Taco.
What were you?
I was thinking of Pat Spalding.
Yeah, Pat Spalding loves Del Taco.
More than In-N-Out?
I think so.
Oh my god.
But
Okay.
here's the thing: you can get to Del Taco easily. If you want to go sit in a long ass line, you go to In-N-Out.
In your fancy car, so that everyone will stare at you.
I did rent a
Okay.
Porsche for a day to research, and we took it through In-N-Out, and I thought maybe people would be like, "Wow, no one cares."
You get way more looks if you take like an RV or like a box truck through In-N-Out. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, will the drive-thru survive this experience?
Yeah.
And the answer is always no, it won't. Ask me how I know. Cooking or ordering in?
Oh, cooking. I love cooking too.
Okay. DC or Marvel?
Oh, Marvel. I think DC takes itself too seriously. But I'm also not a Marvel person, and research really did help with that.
Love it.
I haven't even seen all the Avengers. I haven't seen all the Avengers or the Vindicators.
Yes. Boy, I had to give up after a while too. Karaoke bar or lesbian bar?
Our lesbian bar just closed in LA. I'm really
I'm so
sad.
sorry.
So I mean, normally lesbian bar, but I have to pick karaoke bar.
All right. Grey's Anatomy or The Pit?
That's hard. I mean, The Pit is a much better show, but Grace is like my ride or die. I was just saying, I feel like a witch cursed me and I can't stop watching it. It's so bad. I don't like it. All the good people are basically gone except for Bailey. Meredith sometimes comes in from Boston and doesn't live in Boston anymore. I don't know what's happening.
Who knows? Okay, that was the end of the lightning round, so I only have one more question for you,
Okay.
which is what's next that you're allowed to share with us?
Yeah, the series is over, so I'm writing some standalone books next. The next one is going to be about a bachelorette party in Palm Springs, where a woman who's sort of like a workaholic is like going to go to reconnect with an old friend who's getting married, but her ex-best friend is there and they have to share a child's bedroom. And romance and
Of
shenanigans
course they do.
ensue.
Is there only, how many beds are there?
One bunk bed.
Oh my gosh, there's only one?
There's only one bunk bed. And the room is Paw Patrol themed.
Okay, well, you know, it'd be funny if they had an all about penises and all about vulvas on the bookshelf as well. You just never know what you're gonna need. We can get copies right here for research. That's a write-off.
That's all a write-off, baby.
I love it. Okay.
I have an announcement.
You have an announcement?
Q&A.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go for it.
If you are one of the first people to ask a question, sorry, it's hard to hold a mic and do something. Will you, store employee whose name starts with a PT that I've forgotten the rest of, run these bags to people?
Sure.
So for the first few people who ask a question, you get an Out in Hollywood tote bag with art by Samini Blocker of the main 8 characters. I asked her to draw them like they were on an L Word poster. And she did. Anyway, the first people will get these until they're out. And then you can still ask questions. You're allowed to ask questions. And I have stickers of that poster, so you'll still get, like, even if you don't get a bag, you will get the art.
Perfect. I think it's time for audience questions.
I am curious. I love how your chapters start with a title, especially like similar and funny, like Diva and Hacks. Is that like, and I don't often see it in romance books. Is that something that you were wanting to do, like title your chapters? And is that something is that like a publishing thing? Like, I don't know.
I just started doing it and for her consideration and was like delighting myself with it. And then I was like, and I wrote that book not under contract, so I just sort of like entertained myself with that book. And then when I sold it, I did think there was a chance to be like, you have to have normal chapter titles. And they didn't. So I was like, well, then that's the series. They all have them. And then I started writing the Palm Springs book and I immediately was like, weird title. And I was like, feels like I'm just gonna keep doing this and no one is trying to stop me. But I will say sometimes I will like write a chapter and be like, oh God, what is the time? Like, it is like a thing I have to then figure out.
Yeah, so you do it while you're writing?
I make little brackets and then I go back and I fill them in later. But sometimes they're really good. Like, I think Divas and Hags is a great chapter title. But I think sometimes, like, no slight spoiler, Tess gets in like a little issue toward the end. And I did have her making a joke where, remember when like Justin Timberlake got pulled over and he said, this is going to ruin the tour? And they were like, what tour? He's like, the world tour. And so I had it where she was like, this is going to ruin the tour. And the cop was like, what? And then the title of the chapter was the world tour. And my editor was like, are you saying you think she's at the lowest emotional point of the entire book? And she's like quoting Justin Timberlake memes. And I'm like, I would be, but you're right. Tess is not me. She wouldn't be. She's much purer and sweeter than me. She would not. So but then I had to change the name of the chapter because it was like, well, you won't let me keep my joke. I've mentioned this at so many events because I'm still like, can't believe Alex made me kill that joke. She was right. It was the wrong place for it, but it was a great thing. Now you all know it. When you read that chapter, you're going to be like, I see where it went, but my editor was right.
I always treat myself like the president, and I'm allowed to pardon one darling per book.
I felt like I mean, she had so many things where she's like, does this need to be here? And I was like, yes! This book is like 100,000 words long. It's long. I don't think it feels like it. I think it's the right length, but there was a point where I was like, I have to stop putting new bits in.
I am always curious how people research for books. And I know you mentioned, like, briefly needing to talk to someone who's made a Marvel movie and things like that. Who or what kinds of people did you talk to, or how did you do research? Did you have to find an A-list celebrity to interview?
I did not get to talk to an A-list celebrity. I did get to talk to a personal assistant of an A-list-ish celebrity. So she was really helpful. I talked to someone who had a supporting role in Guardians 3, a movie I've not seen because, as far as I know, the whole movie is about torturing a baby raccoon, and I don't think anything else happens in it. So, which felt really ungrateful when you're like an actor from that is like being so generous to give you hours of her time. And I'm like, I just want you to know I've not seen your movie because from what I understand, it's just a snuff film about a raccoon. So I'm just really fortunate. I have a lot of theater people in my sphere. I have a lot of friends who are actors or used to act. I have a friend who's done a lot of dramaturg work. A friend who used to be a Broadway stage manager. So I like just texted or emailed all of them and said like, hey, I'm writing this book. Do you have like an hour for me? Literally all of them said yes and gave me so much time, just really gave me so much insight. And I was like, I was floored by their generosity. And, with some people, I really told them a lot about the story and they gave me sort of some specific thoughts about how they thought some things would go. Some people I was much just more like, what does it feel like to get there on the first day? Like, what are people talking about? What are people worried about? What are people excited about? How does the schedule work? And just sort of like fitting all those pieces together. Again, I'm not a researcher. I don't really like have a background in it. So I just had this like intense spreadsheet of like everything people said, or like be sure to go back to like Meg's note about this, or like pull Rachel's note about this. And by the time I was done, I would like then go back and read those and feel like, did I get this all in? It was so much work, but I do think I'm so proud of how it came out. And then on top of that, my friend Adam is like just like a really pedantic man. And like he prides himself on this. Like the person who's like, well, actually, and then he's like really pleased, like that's him. So I said, hey, Adam, when I finish the draft, can I send it to you and you tell me everything that makes you angry because it's inaccurate? And he was like, yes. So I sent it to him and there were like a few things I got wrong or just like explained poorly. And he was able to, he also like gave me like information on contracts for how like actors are like, if you're in a regional production that's being developed to go to Broadway, like would you be like automatically all these things? So like it was so helpful. But I was like, if you look in the acknowledgement section, there's just like a long ass list of people, and this is because they were so generous with me.
For either of you, is there a trope that if you could, you would throw into a blender, crush it up, spread it out, and then redo it all?
Do you need me to go first?
Like a
Yeah,
trope-
go first,
a trope
because I
you
feel
don't-
like you know.
I feel like nearly, perhaps 97, 98% of what people call enemies to lovers in contemporary fiction is really talk to HR to lovers, because it's just a man being a dick to a woman at a workplace, not examining the power dynamics at all, and then suddenly they're boning it out. And I'm like, this is bad. Like, I don't like it. Now, if it's a fantasy setting and they try to kill each other first, like, listen, I love Princess Mononoke. That's enemies to lovers done well, because she's like, I'm gonna stab you with this knife, and he's like, you're beautiful. What could be more romantic? That's fine. No one's talking to HR because HR doesn't exist. But in any universe where HR does exist and is not utilized for what's often literally textbook sexual harassment, and for it to be treated as romance, I think is gross. And I think those authors should go to therapy.
I'm gonna kind of cheat because I've now written to like celebrity / normie, or this one I think is celebrity / niche lesbian celebrity, because people like know who Rebecca Frisch is. But like one thing that I was really mattered to me was that like I think a lot of those books, the actors like, I didn't mean to get so famous and I'm still really nice and like I drive my mom's old car still. And I was like, oh no, she drives a dick car. Like I want more. I want less relatability. I want people who are making weirder superstar choices. I want people who went after it on purpose. Like that is, and so like, that is my reimagining of it. I'm just like, I think it's even like, for consideration, you know, Ari's like, oh, I hate being famous. It's so hard. And she's like, I mean, I do want to win an Oscar, like obviously. So like, I don't know. I think like dig into the reality of it. Like not everyone has to like, I feel like people sand off their edges to make people palatable, and I think it's more fun when people are a little still sharp. Sharp, negative.
I have a two-part question.
Fantastic, Chelsea.
Thanks. The first question is, could you ever see the Out in Hollywood series being adapted to a TV show like Heated Rivalry? And the second question is, what kind of director would you love to have direct?
Oh my gosh, I want this to happen so badly, and I have for a long time. And like the L Word's been off for years, and Gen Q was not great. And I just think having a series like Out in Hollywood would be amazing. And so if anyone is listening in Hollywood from St. Louis, I understand that you think it would be me, but it's not. So call Hollywood, let them know. I think a friend and I might just write a pilot and see what happens, and just like, because I think people are very literal about like adapting the books. And the one thing I think is great about Heated Rivalry is that like, in like the third episode, you get like the other book and the other characters. And I was like, oh, I love the idea of like mixing all the storylines together. The other thing is that there's a lot of side characters in Out of Hollywood that don't have like a romance arc because they're either single or they're already married. But like they could have arcs too, like her friends in book one, like who are trying to adopt a kid, like that could be a plot line. Like stuff at work could be a plot line. So I'm like, I want it to happen. Can you tell how desperately? But yeah, I think I might write it just to see what happens, which will probably be nothing, but at least it would probably be fun. Or I should like manifest and be like, no, it'll be great. It'll work out. Yeah, all of you call Hollywood and say you want a sapphic series set on a series of books. And then maybe say me, because they might pick the wrong books.
I see you had a question? Yeah.
I have to start this by saying I really appreciate that you're sticking with this genre after wrapping up this particular series. Thank you for continuing it because I really enjoyed it. Also, do you think you'll ever get back to YA lit?
No, I don't think I will.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I am 48 years old, and that is 30 years between like me and someone graduating from high school. And I think at a certain point, I just don't understand their lives anymore. There's so many things that have happened. Like, I feel like when I was growing up, my adolescence was not that different from like my parents. Like, they bought records, I bought CDs. We used to like listen to the radio. We like hung out at the mall or the movies, like all this. And now I'm like, between social media, smartphones, between kids living through a pandemic at a young age, everything about how they hang out is different. Everything about what's sort of considered like cool is different. I don't have like a context for it anymore. And I'm so glad I wrote YA. I'm so glad I have 6 YA books that people can still read. But I just feel like writing about adults feels like I can connect with it more. I can connect with the audience more. And I will also say on like a publishing industry level, it's so much nicer. YA is like the hardest place. And I had no idea how hard it was until I got into adult, and people were just like easier about it. So it's not like a dream world, but like in comparison. someone was really like, Amy, I want you to go back and write YA. And I was like, what if there were 2 alleys you could walk down, and in one they spit in your face and kicked your shins, and on the other they just shone a flashlight and said, this way, ma'am. That's the one I'm gonna go down. Do you feel that way? Because you still write YA.
I thought you were gonna say there was like raccoons ready to chase you. I'm lucky in that I have, this is gonna sound weird, I have access to a lot of young people. Not something you want a gay man to say. I have 13 first cousins.
Oh,
And I'm Iranian. And so most of them have kids, and they literally want, the youngest is 2 and the oldest is like 25. And so like no matter what age I want to write for, I have a cousin with a kid that age that I can be like, tell me all the drama at your school right now. And so teenagers are so endlessly fascinating. I love YA because it's that time in your life is a time of so many firsts, and firsts are fun to write about. But I also sometimes I'll write a book and then I'll feel like, do I have anything useful to say to young people these days? And so some days I'm like, yes, I will keep writing it YA until they show me the door. And then sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I could go write about adults boning. And so for now, I just kind of alternate between the two. And then also, we'll see. You never know what's going to flop or what's going to hit. And if you have enough flops in a row, eventually they just stop letting you write books. So we'll see. We'll see.
I do want to give a shout out to Adib's books for people of all ages. They're all great. The one on display here, I'll have what he's having. If you do like an adult romance, this book is so good. There's so much about, and I feel like if you like my books, it's not Hollywood, but like there's a lot about food, about connecting over that, about found family, about the friends in your life you kind of want to kill, but are also the best people in the world. Like I do think we have a lot of like the same touchstones. So if you like my books, I definitely recommend Adib's.
This one is about penises, and this one's about goals.
I don't read my reviews, but I have a funny story to tell you, which is like I signed up for like a newsletter for like a podcast, and the podcast like did a book club, and they read my book, and I was like, well, I can never listen to those episodes, I can never know anything about it. But then I accidentally read like some of the a choice selection of responses, and one of them was like, this book isn't for me. I don't like penises, and there were too many penises in this romance book. And I was like, I need to put that on a mug or something like that. Like I know they're saying they don't like the book, but that's a great endorsement for like the people that
100%.
will love that book. It made me laugh. Sorry, I bet when you invited us, you didn't know we'd say penises and vulvas so many times.
It's really just been you.
It's a team effort.
Thank you everyone for coming. It means the world to me. Every time I'm here and I see people from high school and my family, people I work with, except like it means so much. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to Left Bank, a story I shopped at as a teen. I know I get to do events as a grown-up author. It's like a little dream come true. So thank you everyone. It means the world. And thanks to you for driving in from the other side of Missouri.
Thank you for asking me.
And our swag, so it's no more tote bags, but other stuff, and it's really good.
Awesome. What do we do now?
Cool. They'll be signing at the table over here. You can purchase your books at the register, and then make a line going through here. You can exit out of the room back there, so we don't get trapped.
Don't get trapped.
Don't be suspicious. No.